Hey, how you doing? Chris here. Unfortunately, we are not cooking for this time. Instead, we will be diving into 3 mind-blowing cases where multiple priceless pieces of art just got stolen, and how the authorities actively try to solve these cases, sometimes successfully, but most of the times don't. 55 years ago, a painting vanished from a New Jersey home, stolen in the night, hidden in the shadows, and lost for decades. But now, it's finally back. This is the story of the Schoolmistress, an 18th century painting by Jhon Opie, and how it survived half a century in criminal hands before making its way home. In December 2021, an accounting firm in Washington County, Utah, made an unusual discovery. While appraising an estate for auction, they stumbled upon an oil painting, an original Opie. But something about it seemed off. They called the FBI. Special Agent Gary France of the FBI's Salt Lake City field office took custody of the painting. After digging into its past, one fact became clear. This wasn't just any Opie. It was stolen property. The investigation had just begun. Newark, New Jersey, the summer of 1969. Dr. Earl Leroy Wood, a well-respected doctor, had purchased the Schoolmistress back in the 1930s for $7,500, a small fortune during the Great Depression. But by 1969, that same painting caught the attention of the wrong people. On July 7th, 3 criminals, Gerald Festa, Gerald Donnerstag, and Austin Costiglione, broke into the Wood residence. Their target? A coin collection. But the house had an alarm system. The heist failed. Instead of escaping unnoticed, the police arrived, along with then New Jersey State Senator Anthony Imperiale. While questioning the home's caretaker, Imperiale learned something interesting. The painting inside the house was priceless. The information was out, and the thieves weren't done. Just 18 days later, on July 25th, they returned. This time, they ignored the coins and went straight for the Opie. It was gone. During a 1975 trial, Gerald Festa testified that the heist wasn't random. He claimed that before the burglary, he and his crew had visited Senator Imperiale's clubhouse, where they were told exactly where to find the painting. And when they got it, he said Imperiale took it, but the allegations were never proven. Imperiale was never charged, and the painting, it vanished. What happened next is a mystery. For 20 years, the Schoolmistress was lost. No records, no sightings, but the FBI believes it remained in the hands of organized crime, moving from one mobster to another, hidden in backrooms, traded like currency, until one day, it resurfaced. Fast forward to 1989. In Hallandale, Florida, convicted mobster Joseph Covello Sr. was selling his house. The buyer, an unsuspecting man, had no idea that included in the sale was a stolen masterpiece. For years, the Schoolmistress hung in his home, a silent witness to the passage of time. When the man eventually moved to Utah, he took it with him. And when he passed away in 2020, his estate fell into the hands of an accounting firm. That's when the FBI got the call. It took 2 years of legal battles to confirm ownership. But finally, in early 2024, a Utah court ruled in favor of Dr. Francis Wood, the original owner's son. On January 11th, at 96 years old, Dr. Wood watched as Special Agent Gary France unveiled the Schoolmistress in his Newark home. For the first time since he was a young man, the painting was back where it belonged. Art crime cases don't always have a happy ending. Most stolen pieces disappear forever. But this time, the painting just got restored. As Special Agent France said, "In a world where criminal investigations often leave scars, it was a rare joy to be a part of a win-win case, a triumph for history, justice, and the Wood family." Yeah, whatever you say, bro. Chicago, 2020. A seemingly ordinary jewelry store became the center of a federal investigation into one of the most elaborate art theft cases in recent years. This wasn't a high-tech museum heist or a daring nighttime break-in. This was something different, a slow, calculated scheme involving stolen paintings, fake identities, and a carefully orchestrated plan to sell priceless artwork under the radar. At the center of this scheme was a man known as Garcia. But that wasn't his only name. He also went by Michael Chapman and John Adams, changing identities like a chameleon to avoid detection. His accomplice, a woman whose name won't be revealed, who would later play a key role in exposing the operation. It all started when Garcia and that girl got their hands on a collection of valuable artwork and antiques, pieces over 600 years old, worth tens of thousands of dollars. But where did these items come from? Investigators later discovered that the stolen items belonged to a private collector. For this time, we will refer to him as the victim Scott, just to say a random name. These priceless artifacts were taken from storage units in Chicago and moved to different locations to be sold off piece by piece. On May 23, 2020, the plan was set in motion. Garcia arranged for the girl to meet a potential buyer, an undercover informant working with the FBI. The location: a jewelry store in Lansing, Illinois. That morning, agents equipped the informant with a hidden recording device and positioned themselves behind a one-way glass inside the store. As the deal unfolded, the woman arrived with 45 stolen pieces, claiming they belonged to her and her father. She had been coached well, repeating what Garcia had told her to say. Throughout the transaction, Garcia was never seen in person. Instead, he orchestrated everything over the phone, instructing the girl on what prices to charge. He even hinted at having more pieces to sell in the future. 5 days later, law enforcement confronted the woman. At first, she stuck to the story, saying the artwork belonged to her father. But under pressure, the truth came out. Garcia was behind it all. With her cooperation, agents searched her home, known as the Rothschild residence. There, they found more stolen artwork, rental agreements linking Garcia to the storage units, and messages between them discussing the stolen items. But Garcia wasn't done covering his tracks. Surveillance footage revealed that before the raid, Garcia had moved stolen goods to new locations. Agents traced him to multiple storage units, some of which he had opened just days before being contacted by law enforcement. Between February and August 2020, this art theft operation spanned across multiple states. Stolen items were moved over 100 times between storage units. Garcia used at least 3 different names to rent spaces and communicate with buyers. A storage facility employee admitted to acting as a lookout while Garcia moved the stolen art. The final piece of evidence? A search of one of Garcia's last storage units in Orland Park, Illinois, where agents saw rugs and framed artwork matching the stolen collection. Garcia was eventually charged with wire fraud, a federal offense carrying serious prison time. His elaborate scheme, built on deception and stolen history, had finally unraveled. As for the stolen artwork, many of the pieces were recovered, though some may have already disappeared into the black market, lost forever. This case proves that stolen art doesn't always vanish into the shadows. Sometimes it's hidden in plain sight, just waiting for the right buyer, or the wrong seller. Now let's make our way into the last banger of a case for this video. A priceless painting, stolen in the chaos of World War II, lost for decades, and nearly sold at auction in the United States. This is the story of the secret departure of Ivan the Terrible before the Oprichina, a masterpiece that vanished from a Ukrainian museum only to resurface more than 75 years later. The year is 1911. Russian artist Mikhail Panin completes his striking work, The Secret Departure of Ivan the Terrible before the Oprichina. The painting captures the paranoia and brutality of the infamous Tsar, who would later unleash his personal army, the Oprichniki, to terrorize his own people. The artwork was later housed in the Ekaterinoslav City Art Museum, now known as the Dnipro Art Museum in Ukraine, where it remained on display for decades. Then came World War II. In 1941, the German invasion of the Soviet Union led to the looting of countless cultural treasures. Among them was this very painting. Like so many other stolen works of art, it disappeared into the shadows, its fate unknown. Fast forward to 2017. A married couple in Maine decides to auction off an old painting that came with the house they bought decades earlier. The artwork, measuring over 7 feet by 8 feet, is transported to Washington, D.C., where it's listed for sale. But just before the auction, something shocking happens. An email arrives from the Dnipro Art Museum. It reads, "Attention, this painting was stolen during World War II. Do not sell it. It must be returned to Ukraine." This claim sends shockwaves through the art world. The FBI steps in, investigating the painting's past. Records confirm its origins. This was indeed the stolen artwork from Ukraine. The United States District Court for the District of Columbia orders its seizure under federal laws against the interstate transportation of stolen property. In a rare turn of events, the couple in Maine voluntarily agrees to forfeit the painting, waiving any claims. Their home had unknowingly held a stolen masterpiece for decades. In 2020, after more than 75 years, the secret departure of Ivan the Terrible before the Oprichina was officially returned to Ukraine. The painting now resides once again in the Dnipro Art Museum, where it belongs. Well, that final case didn't end it as messy as I expected. The people possessing the painting just dropped it as it was found. I couldn't find if they were compensated for leaving that painting after having it for that long time, but it is what it is. Anyway, go ahead and write what do you think down below on the comments. I would be happy to read that. Do not forget to like and subscribe. I will see you on the next video.